And it's time now for Media Watch, and our very own James Creedon is here with us in the studio. Hi,
Evening,
James.
Aurora.
And we start with a look at how UK parties are using social media just a week ahead of the general elections.
That's right, a big change since 2010 when the last general election took place in the UK. Social media has taken on a much more important role, and several media have been looking at how social media is playing an increasingly important role for the political parties in the rolling out of their campaigns. The Conservative Party is placing a huge amount of emphasis on its Facebook presence. According to one report on the BBC in February, £100,000 is being spent by the party every month on Facebook, because the thing is, with Facebook algorithms on your news feed, depending on what you comment on and what you like, that's what's appearing on your news feed. And to get around those algorithms, the parties are using advertising techniques, promoting certain posts on Facebook, things like that. So they have quite a presence on Facebook, 433,000 likes on their page. And just biting at their heels, so to speak, you have the UKIP party with 425,000 likes on Facebook. So they are almost as present on Facebook in an official capacity as the much more established Conservative Party. Meanwhile, Labour is betting more on Twitter, which I suppose you could argue is a slightly more dynamic, younger social media. Younger people tend to use it more than Facebook, which is now the old fogey of social media, you could even argue. In any case, for Labour, they have 207,000 followers on Twitter, which is the biggest UK party online. The Greens had a big success on YouTube with this viral video earlier this month. It depicted the establishment, I suppose you could say, or the established party leaders as members of a boys band. Change the Tune has had 800,000 shares or likes on social media, so that's been a pretty big success for the Green Party.
Do you think that social media has dumbed down the debate, James?
Well, there have been some arguments going in that direction. In particular, sort of viral campaigns attempting to cast party leaders as sex symbols, for example. Hardly the most important debate or election issues, you could say. So there was this hashtag #MilliFandom, which took off at the start of the month, and you had his Ed Miliband's head being put on top of David Beckham's body, and that was countered by the Tories' attempt at casting their party leader as the Prime Minister as a sex symbol. David Cameron became this viral campaign, the Cameronettes, with some saying that it failed spectacularly. You also have images that are going viral of the Prime Minister eating a hot dog with a knife and fork. That was a big story at the start of the month. And lots of images of him eating, in fact. That's another one of him eating a traditional English breakfast with a knife and fork, with many people saying this was all to avoid the absolute humiliation of Ed Miliband, who was eating I think it was a bacon butty in May of last year while he was campaigning. And that so the problem is you have these snapshots that go viral. You have hashtags casting party leaders as sex symbols. So I think some would say that this is all part of the, I suppose, dumbing down of politics as it comes across on social media. Images, short sentences, hashtags, etc. But I suppose social media does also facilitate people who, if you want to have a more refined, discerning approach to learning about politics, social media will also facilitate that. So I suppose it depends on your approach.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to a controversial coverage now of these elections. The Sun newspaper is actually backing different parties in different parts of the UK.
That's right. This morning's paper, I think, surprised a lot of people. If you were in Scotland, the party is supporting the SNP, the Scottish National Party, which is for independence of Scotland. Meanwhile, in the south, in the rest of the UK, it's supporting the Tories. Now, of course, the whole controversy there is that it would more than likely be, if Labour wins, a Labour SNP coalition. So this seems to be a completely contradictory message. And as this tweet says, so Rupert Murdoch orders Sun readers in England to vote Tory to beat the SNP, and orders Sun readers in Scotland to vote for the SNP. So a lot of people quite confused about that, and it seems we've come a long way since the Sun's front page or front cover in 1992, Aurora, when they argued that they won the election for the Conservative Party at the time with this famous headline, "It's the Sun what won it." A lot of people now saying the Sun doesn't even know what it stands for itself, and it seems to be a little bit confused. Now their head of PR, Dylan Sharp, said, look, as far as we're concerned, the Sun is written first and foremost for its readers, and the UK edition and the Scottish edition have two very distinct audiences. In other words, it stands for nothing really, Aurora. But that's just my opinion.
All right, James, thank you very much for that. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. We're going to have a short break now, but don't go away. We'll come back with more headlines in just about 5 minutes' time.
France 24, 3 channels, 24 hours a day, 430 journalists, 144 daily news bulletins, 42 news magazines, 160 correspondents around the world, 300 million households reached by France 24, 45.9 million viewers each week, 13 million monthly website visitors, 12 million followers on social networks.
Thank you. Merci. شكراً.